Aaron, 35, a dedicated husband and hardworking marketing consultant, for the last 10 years, has poured his soul into building a life with Rachel. They met young and instantly felt a connection. Rachel, with her wit and beauty, made him feel like the luckiest man alive. Together, they shared dreams of travel, success, and even starting a family someday. To anyone on the outside, they were the perfect couple. But beneath the surface, things had begun to change. Rachel seemed to spend more and more time on her phone, with mysterious late-night girls' outings and new routines that left Aaron feeling like he was living with a stranger. He brushed it off, hoping it was a phase, but deep down, his gut told him something was off. One evening, as they sat across the table, Rachel took a deep breath and looked at him with a strange expression he'd never seen before, an almost nervous excitement. "Aaron," she started, "I think we need to explore options outside our marriage, you know, for the thrill. I think we'd grow stronger from it." Aaron was floored. She wasn't just asking for freedom, she wanted permission to cheat, all under the guise of strengthening their marriage. Struggling to keep his composure, he looked into her eyes and asked, "Are you saying you want to be with other people?" Rachel nodded, explaining that she felt stuck and wanted to reignite the spark by exploring connections with others. She assured him it was nothing personal against him but merely a journey she needed for herself. Aaron couldn't believe what he was hearing, but instead of exploding in anger, he stayed calm, asking questions, listening carefully as a quiet plan began to form in his mind. He looked her in the eye and, with a composed expression, simply said, "All right, Rachel, do whatever you need." Rachel blinked, surprised, then smiled, thinking she'd won his understanding. But Aaron wasn't done. Inside, a quiet fire of determination sparked, and he vowed to regain control of his life, with or without her. He would let her go on his terms. Over the next few weeks, Aaron changed too, but not in ways Rachel anticipated. While Rachel began seeing new people, Aaron spent his time transforming his own life. He quietly invested in himself, taking control of his health, reconnecting with old friends, and even taking up new hobbies like rock climbing and guitar. Each night, he'd return home later, with a new energy that left Rachel both surprised and puzzled. Aaron's transformation became the talk of their friends, who were curious yet cautious about this new chapter of his life. Rachel, however, felt a creeping sense of confusion. She had expected Aaron to stay stagnant or maybe even feel regretful, but instead, he was thriving. Little did she know, Aaron was slowly creating a life that no longer included her. One day, Rachel came home to find Aaron looking over real estate listings. He was engrossed, comparing layouts and floor plans as if planning for a future alone. "What's all this?" she asked with a forced smile, sensing that her control over him was slipping away. "Oh, just exploring my options," he replied smoothly, not offering any further details. The calmness in his voice unnerved her. She tried to brush it off, but Aaron's mysterious behavior only intensified over the next few weeks. Then, one evening, Aaron called Rachel into the living room. He had documents spread out on the coffee table, bank statements, property assessments, travel plans. She watched, stunned, as he outlined his new life plans, a life that didn't include her. "I thought you might want to know," he said, "that I'm moving on. I've started buying properties, planning travel, and, well, I realized I'm happier building a life on my own. It seems we both needed a change." Rachel's face turned pale. She had assumed he'd wait for her, that his love was unconditional, but now she saw that he'd chosen a life free from her demands. She stammered, trying to object, but I thought we were doing this for us." Aaron only smiled. "I am doing it for me now." Aaron left that evening, moving into a new apartment and immersing himself fully in his life's new chapter. He traveled, met new people, explored passions he'd suppressed for years, and found a deeper happiness than he'd known. Meanwhile, Rachel, now alone, began to realize the extent of her loss. She tried reaching out to him, apologizing, even begging to reconnect, but Aaron's answer remained the same. He had found peace, and he wasn't looking back. Aaron's next move was all about reclaiming his independence, not just emotionally but physically and financially. With quiet determination, he devised a strategy to reshape his life in ways that subtly but definitively moved him away from Rachel. Here's how he went about it, step by step. Aaron knew that distancing himself emotionally would be the most challenging part. Though he was heartbroken, he made a conscious decision to stop expecting anything from Rachel. He no longer waited for her to reach out or hoped she would change her mind. Instead, he focused on creating a mental boundary that defined her actions as part of her journey, not his. Every time Rachel tried to reel him back into their shared life or drop hints of remorse, he maintained a calm, detached demeanor. This detachment not only surprised her but also confused her, as she could no longer predict or influence his reactions. Aaron channeled his energy into personal fitness and social activities, redefining his sense of self. He joined a local fitness club, hired a personal trainer, and began a rigorous workout routine. Physically stronger and more confident, he became nearly unrecognizable, shedding not just weight but the insecurities that had held him back. In his social life, Aaron reconnected with friends and family members he had distanced himself from during his marriage. He started hosting gatherings at his new place, meeting new people, and finding joy in shared activities. This reintegration reminded him of his self-worth outside the marriage. Aaron then began working on his financial freedom, ensuring that Rachel's choices wouldn't affect his future. He consulted a financial advisor, discreetly transferring joint assets to separate accounts and investing in long-term assets, primarily real estate. By investing in rental properties, he was securing steady income, which was crucial for the independent life he envisioned. He used this opportunity to start building wealth, knowing it would empower him to live freely. Rachel noticed him constantly meeting with financial advisors, researching properties, and discussing business ventures. This only added to her confusion and realization that he was slipping away entirely. Aaron knew he needed to process the betrayal to fully heal, so he sought professional therapy. Through therapy, he not only worked through his grief but also discovered aspects of himself he had never explored. His therapist encouraged him to try new hobbies, set personal goals, and embrace his own identity beyond marriage. He took up rock climbing, a hobby that made him feel strong both physically and mentally, and guitar lessons to fulfill a dream he had set aside for years. These activities not only filled his time but also became sources of pride and joy, grounding him in the here and now instead of in the past. Once Aaron knew he was ready to fully move on, he made a definitive plan to end the relationship on his terms. By securing his assets, becoming financially independent, and finding peace, he was now fully prepared to close the door on this chapter of his life. One evening, he calmly told Rachel that he was moving out permanently, leaving no room for doubt or negotiation. When Rachel begged him to reconsider, realizing how much she'd lost, he reminded her that her choices led to the split. For Aaron, this was a permanent, forward-only path, and he stayed true to it, reinforcing his boundaries and remaining unyielding. Aaron moved into his new place, a sleek apartment overlooking the city. He filled his days with new experiences, expanding his career, traveling, and spending time with people who appreciated him for who he truly was. Rachel's pleas to reconnect fell on deaf ears as he had found genuine peace in his own company and in his new life. As Aaron's life began to flourish without her, Rachel quickly realized the consequences of her choices. The more she saw Aaron's transformation, from his confident demeanor to his new social circle, the more she felt the gravity of her mistake. No longer the man she assumed would always be waiting, Aaron had become a stranger to her, and that scared her. One night, Rachel showed up unannounced at Aaron's new apartment, trying to spark a conversation that could reconnect them. She brought old photos, reminiscing about trips they took and moments they shared. Aaron listened politely, but his expression remained unchanged. "I made a mistake," Rachel confessed, her voice breaking. "I thought we both needed something more, but I was wrong. Can't we try again?" Aaron looked at her calmly. "Rachel, I've built a new life, one where I'm genuinely happy. There's no going back for me." Feeling both rejection and regret, Rachel left in tears, realizing she could no longer manipulate Aaron's emotions. This only intensified her desperation, and she began reaching out to Aaron's friends and family, hoping they might persuade him to give her another chance. But Aaron's circle was now fiercely protective of him, having seen the pain she had caused, and they encouraged him to keep moving forward. Desperate to capture Aaron's attention again, Rachel revealed a long-hidden truth she had kept from him during their marriage. Rachel claimed that before her suggestion for an open relationship, she had already been seeing someone, a colleague from her workplace. She hadn't initially seen it as an affair, rather, she'd convinced herself that the spark with her colleague was just a harmless connection. But as their connection deepened, she became convinced that Aaron would understand if they opened their marriage. She confessed that her suggestion wasn't about exploring freedom. It was her way of legitimizing the affair. Aaron was momentarily stunned by the revelation. The betrayal was deeper than he had imagined. But rather than feeling anger, he felt a sense of relief and closure, knowing he had made the right decision in moving on. Rachel's admission, intended to evoke pity, only solidified his resolve. Rachel tried to justify herself, explaining, "I thought it was harmless. I thought I could manage both, but I was wrong. I can see that now." Aaron, unshaken, replied, "I'm not the person you thought I'd always be. You assumed I'd be here no matter what, but the truth is I've outgrown that person, and I'm not looking back." Having fully embraced his independence, Aaron started opening up to new relationships. He met Emily, a vibrant, intelligent woman who shared his passion for travel and adventure. Unlike Rachel, Emily appreciated him for who he was, and there was no pretense or hidden agenda between them. Aaron took things slow, allowing his connection with Emily to develop naturally. They hiked together, planned weekend getaways, and enjoyed simple moments that felt authentic and unforced. This new chapter brought Aaron a sense of companionship he had never experienced. He realized that his life with Rachel had been filled with compromises and unspoken insecurities that he had mistaken for love. One day, Rachel found out about Emily through mutual friends, and she reached out to Aaron once more, hoping to rekindle any part of their old bond. But Aaron, now secure in his relationship with Emily, responded with a polite but firm message, "Rachel, I wish you well, but I've moved on. My life is no longer tied to our past." In a last-ditch effort, Rachel tried one more shocking tactic to regain Aaron's attention. She claimed she was pregnant. She suggested that the child might be Aaron's, hinting that it could bring them back together. Aaron, now wise to Rachel's manipulative tendencies, requested a paternity test before making any decisions. When the results showed that the child wasn't his, he finally felt a full release from any lingering attachment. He had nothing more binding him to her. This was the last straw, proving to him that she hadn't changed and would do anything to keep him tied down. Aaron blocked all communication with Rachel, fully committed to his new life and the relationships that brought him genuine happiness. He and Emily continued to build a healthy, joyful partnership free of Rachel's games and manipulation. Aaron's story wasn't just one of revenge, it was one of rediscovery. His life became a testament to strength, showing how healing is possible after betrayal, and that sometimes the greatest victory is finding peace on the other side. Sometimes life surprises us with twists we couldn't anticipate. Aaron's story shows us that even in the darkest moments, there's a way to come out stronger, wiser, and happier. If you enjoyed this extended journey of resilience and unexpected twists, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have taken the same path as Aaron? Let us know below.